Good evening and welcome to another exciting meeting of the Charlton Water and Sewer Commission. Today is March 9th, 2020. First, before I call the meeting to order, is there anybody here for public forum? No? If not, we'll get right down to business, and we have some warrants and abatements to approve.
Sure, and we also have the minutes from February 24th, 2020. Make a motion, we accept these as printed.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve last meeting's minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Next, we have the warrants for review and signature dated 3/9/2020 as follows. Commissioner's salary, $400. Town of Charlton, Board of Selectmen. Is that Board of Selectmen abbreviation? $55.22. EJP, $186. Stonebridge Press, $44.10. J. DuBois Contracting, LLC, $4,675. Viola, $40,850.32. Viola, $184. Viola, $184. Franklin Electric, $845.76 for a grand total of $47,424.40. I'll make a motion to accept that as.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on any of these? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed, unanimous, Sue. Are we ready, Peter, for our first appointment, or not yet? It's,
Because it's a public hearing, I recommend you wait till 6:40.
yeah, we're
Till the
5
time.
minutes early right now, so in that case, we can go ahead. We don't have any new business, we can skip right down to old business, so fiscal 2021 budget.
Yes. So we've received the FY21 water and sewer budgets from the finance director, and it has the staffing changes that you voted at your previous meeting. Everything else is correct and ready for final approval. If the board would review it and give it a final okay, I plan on presenting this to the finance committee Thursday night, March 19th at 9:15 p.m. So if we want to take a quick look, we can look at the they're two separate budgets, so we can do the sewer budget first. I think that's first in the packet. And again, the only change here, well, the change in both the budgets, but all the salaries are coming out of the sewer budget this year, and the sewer administrator salary has been cut to zero based on previous discussion. Other than that, sewer payroll-related expenses have been calculated by the finance director based on what we have, and our sewer expenses are, as you can see, pretty stable with what we've had previously. We did increase the maintenance and expense line item by just over $20,000, just to give us a little bit of cushion. The plant operations is a contract obligated annual cost for Veolia. The other expenses are all level funded where we could, except for indirect expenses, which is calculated annually by the finance director. We are carrying $100,000 in capital for unknown or unforeseen larger mistakes that may take place or repairs that may be needed. And we are balanced without using any money from retained earnings or stabilization. So our budget is balanced based on perceived revenue coming in, anticipated revenue coming in next year.
Excellent.
Anybody got anything for Peter?
If there's no questions, the board wouldn't mind making a motion to approve?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the budget as printed.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on it?
And that's the sewer budget.
We have separate motions for both.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Without hearing any further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, or nay.
Nay. Okay.
On to the water budget. You'll see again that the salaries were transferred all over to the sewer, so the salary line items are zero. The associated payroll expenses are also pretty much down to zero. The OPEB contribution is still there. The water expenses have been consistent throughout the last 3 years. If anything, we've been reducing them based on what we've seen for use. And we're carrying $50,000 there for capital in case of any unforeseen larger repairs that we need to do. Because we don't have any water revenue other than the distribution payment from Southbridge annually, this budget is funded from that anticipated payment from Southbridge and also some money from stabilization or it's coming from retained earnings. In the past, you've asked what we have used in our budget for water, so I did a quick little spreadsheet that shows from there's 4 different line items that I carried here for FY18, 19, and what we've used so far in FY20. So just in FY18, in maintenance and equipment, we budgeted 10,000, used just over 2,000, so we turned back in 8. And for engineering, we budgeted 100,000, I think because there was anticipations of needing money to do water line design and stuff like that. Used 0, so all that money was turned back. FY18 legal budgeted 5,000, used 0, turned it all back. And capital was 28,000, spent 21,000 to do repairs. I believe that's when there were repairs done up on Glenmere Road by Whitewater and stuff like that year that cost quite a bit, but we still turned back 6,500. And I guess the main point of this exercise is to show that even though we're budgeting a fairly large budget for water without having much operations, we don't always spend it. So in FY19, we budgeted 10,000 for maintenance and equipment and spent $34, turned back over 9,900. Engineering, we budgeted 20, spent 0. Legal, we budgeted 25,000, anticipating having to negotiate a consecutive water agreement, which hasn't taken place, so we only spent $311. And we budgeted 100,000 for capital and spent 0. So again, even though we're carrying large sums of money, we're not automatically just spending those. And so far this year for FY20, we are over halfway. We're over 50% of the way through the fiscal year. We budgeted 10,000 for maintenance and equipment, spent 110. We've budgeted 10,000 for engineering and spent $1,200, and that's for the work that we've had with McClure to help us with the Cemetery Road water issue, McClure and CMG. And legal, we budgeted 15, spent 755, and that was probably to do some of the work with Cosgrove.
Mm-hmm.
So, in capital, we've budgeted 50 and spent 2. So, just to reiterate the fact, just because we're budgeting and put it in there doesn't mean it automatically gets spent.
Well, we have to budget for emergencies or potential on engineering and legal expenses that hopefully we don't need in use.
And what's not spent, we see the following year in retained earnings, and we put that, we either leave some of it in retained earnings or put some into the stabilization account.
Make a motion, we accept the water budget as printed.
I second.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Nay.
Is there a particular reason that something in both budgets that you are not happy with?
I missed the meeting, I was out sick, and
Okay.
I just didn't agree with the 0% funding. So, that's why I voted nay.
Yeah, okay. Let's see, we voted, no, did we vote? We asked, motion and a second? Yeah, we voted.
You did
Okay,
vote
so
yes.
I was gonna ask Peter, last time we were here, I thought you were gonna come up with some figures on the Stevens Park pump station. Has anything been done with that, or is, we're gonna get engineering figures in or something, and
Yep.
You approved the engineering figures.
with this $3,200?
I
And that was
believe it was $4,200.
42, okay.
It was for,
200 from
DC Engineering to do the design of the
So
repair.
we're waiting now at this time for that to take
Yes.
place before we can go ahead with,
Yeah, so once he gets that design, once he gets that repair designed and approved through, whether it be, probably not so much planning board, but conservation, we can take that approved plan and I can put it out, I can get some proposals to do that work, and then bring those proposals back to you for approval.
I'd forgotten we approved that, so thanks for
Yes.
setting me straight here.
Sure.
Okay, we had a notice published in the paper, a public hearing notice, which is supposed to occur tonight. The notice read, the Charlton Water and Sewer Commission will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 9th at 2020 at 6:40 PM in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 37 Main Street, Charlton, to discuss considering increasing the sewer rate surcharges. Now, let me be clear, this has nothing to do with residential rates at this time. Anyone wishing to be heard in this matter should come forth at this time and I guess, say your piece. I was expecting John Oatley or someone from Veolia to be here tonight to tell us what they recommended for price increases and to justify it.
Right. I followed up with John, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here tonight. So I'm just going on the same premonition of what we discussed at your last meeting for you to set this meeting up. Like I said, John provided us information that the industry benchmark to oxidize 25 milligrams per liter of ammonia is equivalent of what it takes to oxidize 115 milligrams per liter of BOD loading. If you look at your surcharges, what you charge for BOD is $3.58 per pound, in excess of 250 milligrams per liter, and what you charge for ammonia is only $4.68 per pound, in excess of 40 milligrams per liter. So we're going to talk about industry standards quite a bit, but the ratio of the amount to oxidize 25 milligrams versus 115 is about a 4.6 to 1 ratio. So it's going to cost you 4.6 times the amount to oxidize 1 milligram of ammonia versus 1 milligram of BOD. So as we look at the surcharges we currently have and how those surcharges kind of play out in our system for the users that are affected by them, the BOD surcharges seem to be effective in what the customers are charged to motivate them to pre-treat and knock down their levels that they're contributing based on that charge. Our ammonia surcharge does not seem to have that same effect because it's not equivalent. It doesn't follow that ratio of dollars and cents versus the BOD that we have. So based on the information that we have from John and the discussions we've had, I'd recommend that we increase the ammonia BOD surcharge to be 4.5 times what the BOD surcharge is. So I'd recommend that the ammonia surcharge be increased to $16.47 per pound, in excess of 40 milligrams per liter. And that way there follows the industry standard where we know the BOD surcharge is a good benchmark to do what we wanted to accomplish.
Who's involved with this now? Primarily the Mass Pike and the brewery is on the,
Yeah.
doing their own pre-treatment right now.
Correct.
So is there anyone else that's a big user?
Carl
that-
Stores.
Okay, I didn't realize he was sending down ammonia or
No,
BODs.
their constituents vary quarter to quarter based on what their sample time is. Sometimes BOD is high, sometimes ammonia is high. It's really not that consistent for some reason. But their levels aren't super high to where they have super large surcharges, but it's enough for them to take notice and to actively do whatever they can in-house to knock those levels down, so we don't see those high levels that could affect the treatment plant.
Peter, tell me these $16.47, that's an industry standard number?
No.
No.
The surcharge over 40 milligrams per liter is an industry standard.
Okay.
So the 40 milligrams per liter is, for ammonia, is the average that you consider, is what you get average from a household. And BOD, 250 milligrams per liter is the average you get per household. That's why the surcharges don't start until they go over that. The dollar amount is different town to town. Some towns don't surcharge. So I guess.
So it's costing us money right now to treat this ammonia. So,
It costs us more money to treat their flow because of the strength of their waste, yes. So,
And it diminishes capacity in the plant for the residents.
correct, so for every gallon that they send, it could be equal to 4 gallons of a household because of the
waste.
strength of their weight, because they're, instead of sending us 40 milligrams per liter, it could be 120.
right.
So, so when we're running 200,000 gallons per day through our plant, that's designed for 450, and we're still barely meeting our ammonia discharge limit in the summertime because of the strength of the waste, we can't say, all right, we can let another 40,000 gallons of flow come in because we have the flow, because because the strength of the waste, the treatment capacity is already used up.
That means the resident who's on along the sewer line who says, well, I want to tie in, say, well, maybe we don't have room for you,
Sure.
so. And then the resident's question is going to be, why?
Right.
So, and then they're going to say, well, that doesn't sound like a problem for me. Why am I going to be penalized for it? So I think that we discussed it at length in the last meeting, and if anybody's here tonight and they want to speak.
Right, so you have a formal public hearing is open. We haven't had any responses from email or phone calls, correct, Sue? So no residents, other business. I emailed the 3 current companies who received surcharges, told them we were having the meeting tonight. I had some communication with Treehouse and Stores. They said they weren't gonna be able to make it tonight. So I told them what my recommendation was gonna be, so they're aware of it. Ed Abrahams is a representative of McDonald's Corporation. They're the ones responsible for the bill up at both service areas. We've had some conversations. I informed him what we were gonna be talking about tonight, and he's here to listen. I guess if you wanna come up and introduce yourself, or, just speak in the microphone, yeah, just in case the 2 people watching at home can hear you.
My wife and kids.
Welcome.
See, there's other people.
To the spouses of the board member,
Yes,
welcome to the online meeting. Ed Abraham, I represent McDonald's Corporation. I'm the facilities lead for the Northeast. I picked up this section of the country in May, so I'm getting up to speed on the particulars of the Charlton waste that we create. You know, sitting here listening to the dialogue, I appreciate it, and Peter and I will get together a little bit later. I can understand why our waste has heavier ammonia, because the majority of the waste we put in is coming from bathrooms, not showers or sinks, so to speak, which is a typical resident. You know, McDonald's has always prides itself on being responsible in the neighborhood, so if there's something that we can do that makes sense, we absolutely will do to mitigate this. It's a business, our local owner operator, so those 2 plazas are operated by a franchisee. So I receive the bills and pay them, but it comes out of their business. Cash flow is always difficult to achieve, so we'll do what's right for both the town of Charlton and our business, but certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here, and if anybody wants to collect the business card later, we'll figure that out, and if there's any specific questions for me, I'd be happy to entertain those.
Well, thanks for coming tonight, and I think that this board is very, very active in trying to work with businesses to make it good on both sides of the
Sure.
table. We want your business to do well here in Charlton, we want you to succeed, but we don't want it to be a burden on the residents. And
Absolutely, yeah, we are part of communities. We
Yep.
shouldn't be the gorilla to take over it, so we need the travelers, we need the residents, and whatever we can do.
well, I think Peter can help you out with a bunch of suggestions, and the direction we're looking to go is pre-treatment, I believe, and
try and get creative, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we can, again, we'll work with Violi, our operator, see if we can come up with a creative solution that's not cumbersome, and see what we can do to get those net levels knocked out.
excellent. Thanks.
Thank you.
So.
Okay, we've heard what Peter has to say. Do I hear a motion to adopt his suggestions at this time?
I believe you have to close the hearing first before you can take action.
Oh, I thought it'd be part of the meeting. All right, in that case then, there's no one else here, we will close the public hearing portion of.
By motion. You have, someone has to motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I second.
Any objections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay, now,
At your last meeting, you also asked me to call Westboro.
Yep.
So I called Westboro, I called Ludlow. Westboro, I believe they take in so much flow, it's not an issue. It's kind of like the
Okay.
city of Boston dealing with
Sure.
Sam Adams, right? It's just, it doesn't affect them one way or the other.
Yep.
And I called Ludlow as well, and they never called me back, so.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think because of the size of our plant and what we have for flow,
Yeah.
it puts us in a precarious situation, so.
we're a small town with a small river to discharge in, and from what I understand, 5 East is the busiest station on the turnpike. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard.
Depends on the weekend and
Yeah.
what Red Sox or Patriots do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, West has better numbers
6 West?
than East.
Really?
okay, so,
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the new surcharge as printed, $16.47.
So that'll be effective July 1st for that next quarter billing cycle.
I second the motion.
any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was unanimous.
Great.
Do we have any business unknown at the time of posting?
No, we just have that Waterline Construction update.
Peter, has anybody pulled papers?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's pulled.
Nobody's pulled papers, no.
Not that I'm aware of. We haven't been told.
On voting day, no one had pulled them.
No, okay.
So Waterline Construction update, the Bay Path and Overlook pump stations. The power has been connected to both pump stations. Albanese Brothers will be working at both pump stations, performing the plumbing connections in the buildings over the next 2 weeks. They will also complete the exterior grading at both sites. The startup of the Overlook pump station is the priority. The manufacturer will be on site in the next 2 weeks to perform the startup and testing of the pump station and the generator. After startup and testing is completed, the lines to the pump station will be flushed, tested, and chlorinated if necessary, and then the pump station will be activated and the Masonic home will be put online. Once that is done, we're hoping that'll be done by the end of March, and we're also trying to plan the activation at the Bay Path pump station to take place the week of April vacation, so that they'll have no impact to the school. In order for that to happen, once the Overlook is on, we're gonna move into the school loop, and Albanese Brothers is preparing a paving plan and schedule for all the roads affected by the construction last year. And after that Overlook pump station is activated, Albanese Brothers will start flushing, testing, and chlorinated that line so it can be activated down the Bay Path School from Main Street the week of April vacation. So hopefully everything will fall into place by the end of spring. Overlook will be connected, and again, they're a larger user, they flow 35,000 gallons per day, and then we'll get that school loop flushed out, turn the valves correctly so that Overlook will be at the end of the straw, that water will be flowing through the entire school loop. Bay Path will be connected. Kleinfelder's working on finalizing their service installation agreement with, I believe, Albanese, and Albanese Brothers will start doing service connections to the homes sooner than later, so. And then the Casella Waterline extension, again, that's in its final phases. The only thing going on up there is the decommissioning of the private wells for the homes that have been connected, so. Other than that, things are going fairly smooth.
Any action down at Buffinville at all?
No, that's in Beta's hands. You approved that contract a couple, maybe 2 meetings ago now, and we're just waiting for them to get going. They've done a little bit of site plan work. I believe they're waiting for a surveyor to get out there, do the topographic survey and wetlands delineation. And then they're gonna start preparing that site plan. So,
Great weather for it.
it really is.
Anybody got anything else? Our next meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight, March 23rd, 6:30 in the same room. Do I have a final motion, please?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chris,